Nicole, when was the last time you listened to your gut?
I always do, because we know there's a lot of misleading health advice out there, and most of what we're taught about food is wrong. Did you know that Big Food even pays TikTok influencers to say that ultra-processed foods are healthy? Well, they're not.
My God, that is shocking. It's no wonder that 1 in 8 people globally, by the way, that's over 1 billion people if you don't want to do the maths, are living with obesity.
Our sponsor Zoe understands that our health is suffering, and it's time we listened to our gut.
They make your gut health their business. And as we've learnt in over 5 years of doing this pod, gut health is key to overall health.
Your Zoe membership starts by testing your gut health, backed by one of the world's largest microbiome databases and most scientifically advanced at-home gut health tests. Zoe gives you proven science whenever you need it.
Listen, we know better than anyone else being in the self-care space that the start of every new year is noisy with health advice that is often just full of hot air and rubbish. But Zoe is the solution that you can trust.
Zoe is the science and nutrition company leading a movement to transform the health of millions, and Zoe membership has been proven by a randomized controlled trial, giving you the solutions to listen to your gut, make smarter food choices, and change your health for life.
Go to zoe.com and find out what Zoe membership could do for you. And because you listen to Self-Care Club, you can use the exclusive code SELFCARE10 to get 10% off membership. As a Zoe member, you'll get an at-home test kit and personalised nutrition programme to help you make smarter food choices that support your gut. That's ZOE.com. Use code SELFCARE10 at checkout. Trust your gut. Trust Zoe.
It's 2025, a new year and the best time to turn your great idea into a business. Shopify is how you're going to make it happen. Let me tell you how. Shopify makes it simple to create your brand, open for business, and get your first sale. Get your store up and running easily with thousands of customizable templates. All you need to do is drag and drop. Their powerful social media tools let you connect all your channels and create shoppable posts. Established in 2025. Has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/promo. All lowercase. Go to shopify.com/promo to start selling with Shopify today. Shopify.com/promo.
This episode is sponsored by Zoe. Hi Clubbers, a couple of things before we jump into this episode. Friday's show has now moved over to our subscription on Apple Podcasts.
So please subscribe to the channel for your exclusive weekly wellness roundup show and to listen ad-free on every episode of Self-Care Club and 40ish.
Just hit subscribe and you will get exclusive access to all of this content. Hello everybody, welcome to Self-Care Club. I'm Nicole Goodman.
And I'm Laura Mishcon, and today's topic is just one little phrase, but it's one that might make you stop and think for a minute. And the phrase is, if you're not changing it, you're choosing it. We get it. It's a little bit of a confronting phrase, right? If you're not changing it, you're choosing it.
I love it.
Of course you love it.
I love it.
But it's quite confronting.
Of course it's confronting. But also, which we're going to get very much into, it's also very, very, very empowering.
But what does it mean?
Well, it suggests that if you don't change something you're unhappy with, then you are choosing to keep it in your life.
Ouch. A little bit ouch.
Ouch, but it gives you the freedom to change it.
Yes.
That's what I love about it.
Yes.
Because you have total agency over what you are choosing.
Yes.
When we face situations in our life that are not ideal, if we're not actively changing them, then we are essentially consenting to them.
Yeah.
I mean, it is ouch, but it depends on where your mindset's at.
It's basically about personal responsibility and taking ownership of your situations rather than like blaming circumstances or being a victim or just waiting for someone else to make things better, right?
Well, the thing is that if you're blaming someone else, then you are powerless.
Mm-hmm.
You are powerless to change everything because it's somebody else's fault. But when you put yourself in the driving seat and in control of what is currently in your life, then you have the freedom and the choice to do what you want with it.
Yeah. So in today's episode, we are going to break this phrase down. We're going to explore why this mindset can be a game changer, and we're going to discuss how to apply it to your own life to create real change. We're going to talk about the mental shifts that are involved in change and the power of choice.
Love it.
And we chose today's show because we hate New Year's resolutions, but we do believe in the choice to make changes that make you happier and add to your well-being, especially if it's stuff that you can do for free.
Oh,
because that's what we're all about.
That is what we are all about. Interrupting this episode quickly, clubbers, just to say that if you are enjoying Self-Care Club and you are very much into this episode, then please share it with a friend, someone that you think will enjoy it as much as you are.
And don't forget to subscribe.
There is a lot of power to inaction.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
To the things that we don't do, to the things that we postpone and put off, and the habits that we cling to and the stories that we tell ourselves, because people think that that's a passive choice, but it's not. It's actually an active choice.
Wow.
To put stuff off, right?
I mean, you just sent shivers down me. So there is power to inaction.
Yeah.
I love it, because even being sort of avoidant or prolonging something, that's being active in it.
Yeah. And I think all of us have patterns and habits and relationships that don't serve us. But that inertia that we all live by and feed into, whether we like that or not, and we don't like it, it's still a deliberate choice, right? It's a decision. We decide to maintain that status quo in our lives, even if we're dissatisfied, even if it's very stagnating, because we can change it and evolve, but that requires action.
Well, it also requires consciousness.
Yes.
Which
and
is
change.
Yes, but the consciousness has to come first, of course, and change, because once you're conscious of it, you can change it. If it's subconscious, which a lot of it usually is, they're blind spots. We all have blind spots to our own emotional and mental stuff, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
But actually bringing that subconscious into the conscious, that's when you can change it.
So is there anything you would say in your life that you have been tolerating, but you haven't been changing?
Well, one thing that comes to mind is a particular relationship in my life that I have been tolerating for a very long time. And I have been sat in exactly what we've just talked about, the blame.
The victimness.
Yeah, they do this, they do that. Can you believe they said this? Can you believe they did that? And I just bitch and moan about it. And actually, my sister said to me last night, you're not going to change it. You're not going to change them.
No.
So if you want to change it, you're going to have to do something about it. You're going to have to change your mindset around it, which is interesting because she didn't know that we were doing this show. And at first I was a bit like, but what about them being wrong? And what about all the things they've done? And what about all the things they've said? You know, that narrative, which keeps me completely stuck in it and completely small in it and completely powerless in it. What about you?
I mean, there are a few things I would say.
Anything you would like to discuss on here?
Anything I would like to discuss on here? I think my things are smaller things, and they do sound a little bit like first world problems. So I just want to I want to put that headline at the front of it. I understand this is a very middle class first world problem. But this is what is first coming to mind. It's very shallow. I will go deeper later, but
it's okay.
No, I'm preempting it because it's like, what? You're coming out with that? I have been tolerating.
I don't know what you're
about
to
say. Because I'm going to be like, I can't believe that is what you're bringing. But that is what I'm bringing first, right? Because it's the first thing that has popped into my head. I have been tolerating a cleaning lady who I've been paying with my own money.
I actually think this is a very good example.
I don't, because it's a very privileged issue to have, right? But this is my issue. I have been paying a lady for 7 years to come to my house. Her job is to clean the house. That's her job. She's a cleaner. And I've paid her to do this for 7 years, and she is terrible. Like, actually
well,
terrible.
To be honest, most of the time she doesn't turn up.
She often lets me down.
And she comes every Wednesday, and then when she doesn't come, which is, I would say, probably twice a month she doesn't come?
Sometime. I would say less, but
And so then you send me a message, I'm running late because I've got to clean the whole house.
But basically she kind of walks around the house very slowly, chatting to people on her phone with a sort of duster that she flicks every so often, but basically nothing's clean. And I have been kind of tolerating it and quite frustrated, but sat in the inertia because the thought of having to A, sack her, B, find someone new, it was so much effort. I was very, very, very happy to sit in the inertia and just deal with the frustration and the crossness that every week I was paying her cash to basically not do a job. And then I thought, there aren't very many jobs that you could go to, not do the job, and then be expected to just carry on doing that job and get paid for it.
Or builders.
Okay, but do you know what I mean? Like, if
No, but builders always fascinate me because like they don't turn up when they say they're going to turn up ever. That's just a given.
Yeah.
That's just how their industry seems to work. Oh, they said they'd come at 9, but they got here at 2. Or they don't turn up at all. And you just completely accept it. Anyway, I think this is a very good example. So thank you for preempting it. Thank you for saying that this is a privileged issue. But it's still, but it is a really good example of something you have been tolerating that you've been like powerless in.
But of course I'm not powerless. I'm not some like victim who's sitting around with a dirty
It's about mindset, isn't it?
I've been sitting with the mentality of like, oh, poor me with my dirty house, paying you cash every week to do a job that you're not doing at all.
I think that's a bit unfair, poor me. You weren't doing the poor me. You were frustrated with her, and you were frustrated at the situation because A, you didn't want to have an uncomfortable conversation.
No.
B, it's her livelihood, so you didn't want to take that away from her. So there were a couple of things going on of why you didn't want to make that choice.
But I actively sat in the inertia. That was my active choice to not change it.
But did it feel like you were actively doing something? No.
But anyway,
it feels very passive. But I like that distinction that it's something that feels very passive and yet is actually very active.
But I actually made the change.
You did.
Yeah. And it was really unpleasant and I really didn't enjoy doing it. And I still don't feel happy about it because I've had a relationship with her for 7 years. I did tell a white lie. I didn't say, you've basically not been doing your job and I don't want to pay you anymore. But maybe I should have said that. Maybe I should. But I now have new cleaners and they clean properly.
Great.
Yeah.
So okay. So what
there
did
you go.
So okay, but it's a good example because mine's a bit more vague because obviously there's, stuff I'm not willing to discuss.
Well, it's vague but a little more important. But yeah.
Yeah, but I haven't changed it.
But you might.
But I don't know how to. I honestly don't know how to. I don't know how to change it. I get that I am actively participating in this unhealthy dynamic. I totally understand that.
Yeah.
And this show, and then my sister having a good talking to me yesterday, highlighted that, and I'm grateful for it.
Yeah.
But because it's new and it's fresh, I don't know yet what I'm going to do about it and how I can actively change it to a relationship that suits a bit better.
Okay, I get that.
So there's steps and there's processes. You've done the change.
Yeah.
In that particular scenario.
Yeah.
I haven't yet.
Okay.
And I might not. I don't know. But now it's uncomfortable to know that even if I don't, I'm now choosing it.
Yeah. But we should look at the concept of choice, right? Because this whole idea that we have control is very empowering, but it also means that you have to take responsibility, right? Because life doesn't just happen to us. We choose how we respond. We choose how we adapt. You choose what you do or don't do with this situation and what you accept and what you don't accept.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So there are like some examples where this plays out in everyday life. Firstly, in relationships, like the one that you're talking about, a relationship that's a bit toxic or a bit unhappy, or where one person feels like it's not healthy, I guess. In your work, if you're stuck in a job that you hate, but you don't take any steps to change that.
You're trying to tell me something.
Yeah. Or in your personal habits, complaining constantly about your health or your weight, but not actually changing your diet or doing any exercise. So, what are you doing about that? You're just complaining about it.
This is something I'm quite allergic to in life.
Interesting.
I'm not I'm not actually at all. I'm not a self-destructive person whatsoever. So I do like to think, because when I was thinking about an example of something that I'm not changing and I'm choosing, I kind of had to really think about it, because pretty much all the habits that haven't served me over the years, I've kind of
Binned off.
worked on.
Yeah.
So that my life totally works for me. It totally works for me, my life. And I've worked on that. And that has been an active choice. It's not a coincidence, or it's not just luck that I am where I am in life. I don't think. Actually, no, I'm not even going to give that a voice, because no, I have chosen it. If that's what we're going on with this, we have chosen everything that is in our lives currently. And I'm proud of it, actually. I'm proud of it. So when somebody moans or complains consistently about something and they don't change it, or they don't try and make steps to change it,
Then they are choosing it.
they are choosing it. And I find it very, very hard to tolerate.
Right. So let's use the work example. If you have someone who is constantly saying, I hate my job, I just hate my job, but they're not doing anything about it, that is still a choice. They are choosing to stay in a job that they don't like because the fear of change feels much worse than the current situation.
Well, I think, again, it comes down to mindset, doesn't it? Because if you are believing that you don't have a choice, and that is a narrative we all fall into. Well, I have to. I don't have a choice. There's always a choice to be made. Whatever it is, however small it is, even if it doesn't feel like there is one, there is. I'm not saying I know what the answer is if you hate your job, and obviously you've got to stay there because you need to earn your livelihood and everything else. And you've got bills to pay, and it's not just easy to walk away from a job, but you can make steps. You can do a Google search for new jobs. You can call a recruitment company. You can ask around. Like, there's always something that you can make very small shifts to try and change.
Yeah. Yes.
You don't have to sit in something that doesn't work for you.
How are you with change?
Oh, I'm really good with change.
You love change, don't you? I hate change.
Change is as good as a rest.
I hate change. I really struggle with change. I always have, and I still do.
I find change very exciting.
I know.
To me, it's full of possibility.
Yeah.
Well, it is full of possibility.
But lots of people are very resistant when it comes to change. And I think I fit into all the categories of reasons why I don't like it.
Why don't you like it? What are the reasons?
The reasons are it can be uncomfortable. It challenges your beliefs and your routines and your identity, and it forces you to step into the unknown. And the fear of the unknown is another reason why people don't like change.
How does it challenge your beliefs and identity?
Because it can be like you're changing something up that you've always done or not done, and then you're like, well, who am I now? What's going on now? If I've changed this, does this mean this about me? Or does this not mean this about me? Or it shakes up the beliefs that maybe you've held about yourself for a long time.
What, within that routine or within that habit?
Fear of failure.
What about if it's a really positive change?
But it's still a change, and you don't know how it's going to be. So it could be brilliant, but what if it's not?
I don't think like that.
I do. I have a big fear of the unknown, and a fear of failure. Like, what if it doesn't work out? And what if it's worse than where I am now? Why am I going to change it? Because I know how it is now.
But you also have a mindset of, what if it does work out?
Yeah.
You do that as well.
Yeah.
You're just a bit of a what if.
I'm maybe a bit of a warrior.
You are a warrior.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I think a bit of self-doubt creeps into change as well. It's like, well, even if it's amazing, like, do I deserve that? And
that's what I mean. When you say, what if it does work out?
Yeah,
do I deserve that?
Yeah.
Am I worthy of that?
Yeah, that as well. So all of those are common reasons why people don't like change. And I definitely fall into that category. I do struggle with it. Yeah.
I have someone in my life who really struggles with change, even though there's certain things in her life that don't serve her at all. And she is very conscious that they don't serve her. She still really struggles to move away from them, which I find really interesting. Because that is just not how I am wired.
Yeah.
I was always, whenever I was in a job that I did it, and I always paid, I always had my own mortgage, and I always had bills to pay, and I had responsibilities from the age of 22. Was it 22 or 23? I had a mortgage. So it wasn't like I was shirking responsibility. But I just had this belief in myself that this is making me really unhappy. Therefore, I'm not going to do well here, because it's not serving me. I need to go somewhere that does serve me, and I will do better, be happier. That's just always how I've approached it.
You've always believed that change is a positive thing.
Yeah. Well, and also because I've only ever made changes when I've needed to.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's always come from a negative place.
That's interesting. I think we should cut to a break. And then when we get back, I want to talk about how we can shift from passive into active.
Yeah. Lauren, you know me, and you know when it comes to food, I trust my gut. And I also trust Zoe, the leading science and nutrition company.
All the nutritionists we've spoken to on this show have highlighted just how much misleading information is out there when it comes to food. Things like the claims that you see on packaging like low sugar and nothing artificial.
Yeah.
These are often actually assigned to avoid these foods. Ever noticed a health claim on fresh fruit?
No!
Well, then you get my point.
It's completely understandable why there's a lot of distrust and wondering who you should turn to for accurate information.
Well, it's simple. We use Zoe.
Backed by one of the world's largest microbiome databases and most scientifically advanced at-home gut health tests, Zoe gives you proven science whenever you need it.
Go to Zoe.com and find out what Zoe membership could do for you. And because you listen to Self Care Club Clubbers, you can use the exclusive code SELFCARE10 at checkout to get 10% off membership. As a Zoe member, you'll get an at-home test kit and personalised nutrition programme to help you make smarter food choices that support your gut. That's ZOE.com. Use code SELFCARE10 at checkout. Trust your gut. Trust Zoe.
Wow.
What's up?
I just bought and financed a car through Carvana in minutes.
You? The person who agonized 4 weeks over whether to paint your walls eggshell or off-white bought and financed a car in minutes?
They made it easy. Transparent terms, customizable down and monthly. Didn't even have to do any paperwork.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Hey, have you checked out that spreadsheet I sent you for our dinner options?
Finance your car with Carvana and experience total control. Financing subject to credit approval.
Yeah, sure thing.
Hey, you sold that car yet?
Yeah, sold it to Carvana.
Oh, I thought you were selling to that guy.
The guy who wanted to pay me in foreign currency, no interest, over 36 months? Yeah, no. Carvana gave me an offer in minutes, picked it up, and paid me on the spot. It was so convenient.
Just like that.
Yeah?
No hassle.
None.
That is super convenient.
Sell your car to Carvana and swap hassle for convenience. Pickup fees may apply.
If you are enjoying this episode, please share it with a friend who you think could benefit. And if you haven't already, please follow and subscribe. So how do we shift from a passive to an active mindset when it comes to this? Well, you can ask yourself 2 questions. Oh, big questions. Question number 1, what can I change right now? Question number 2, am I ready to own the changes that I want?
So I think we should do some examples on this.
Okay.
Have you got any other examples?
Well, I was thinking about what did I change this week? It can fit into what can I change right now. It doesn't fit into am I ready to own the changes that I want. But as I said in our wellness show on Friday, I just wasn't really on social media over Christmas. I had a lot of plans and I was out and I was busy and I wasn't doom scrolling and it was better. And when I came back on, I felt very unhappy just about the whole world of it. And I didn't want to see it. I didn't need to see it. It didn't serve me.
Yeah.
And I looked at our TikTok account and our social media manager had put up a post, which was just a very funny, lighthearted post from 40ish, which, by the way, all the clips from 40ish are just fun and funny and, little moments to think about. And it was about what
they're not even that. They're there to just make you smile, and it's like
right?
1 minute of nothing.
Yeah, and it was about we were talking
men's
about
fashion.
Yeah, what gives you the ick with men's fashion? And it was like a 15-second clip, tiny. Anyway, as has become the trend now with our TikTok account.
I think with most TikToks.
I mean, I don't know because I only see our account and I don't go on TikTok.
This is social media is very fucking worse. We got trolled.
Yeah, but what's been interesting is this isn't the first time and it's all men. And
we only get trolled by men.
And it's really quite vicious. And because I'm not on TikTok ever, apart from when I see our account, I don't know the landscape of what it normally looks like. But we had this a while ago, and our social media manager, who's a girl in her early 20s, she was also quite shocked.
She's been shocked most times that we've been trolled.
Yeah, but because it's very aggressive and
Very misogynistic.
violent and misogynistic, and because I was the one speaking in this clip, all the comments were about me, and they were very, very personal. And although I don't know these people, I'm never going to meet these people, whatever, and I'm not going to be sitting in a room, thankfully, feeling depressed and sad, and it's going to eat away at my self-esteem and self-worth, because I think that's what social media does to a lot of young people. I did get to this point where I thought, hang on, I do have a choice here.
Yeah.
And my choice is I don't have to see it, listen to it, or allow these men to make these comments. So I clicked a button and I turned off the commenting, and it disappeared.
Yeah.
And I thought I can sit in the place where I just let it roll because it doesn't matter and I don't have to read them. But actually, I'm going to choose to not allow these people a platform to just be revolting misogynists. So I chose it.
It's a good choice.
It wasn't a hard choice.
It's a good choice. Is there any area in your life where you are choosing it but haven't changed it yet?
Well, yes.
Spill it.
I am aware that I have to lift things. One, because I'm 46.
She's talking about exercise, by the way.
Two, because we do this podcast and have done it for a million gazillion years, and I understand that lifting stuff in middle age is very important.
Well, building muscle is very important.
And three,
yeah.
because of all the stuff that we do and have here, I'm aware now that I actually have osteopenia. So it's actually even more important for me, it's important for everyone, but possibly even more important for me that I lift stuff, but I don't lift stuff.
Yeah.
I have no plans to lift stuff.
Okay.
I have made no changes around whether I should go and lift stuff, even though I know I should lift heavy stuff. Even my friend in Australia was like, you've had your DEXA scan now. Now you've actually been told by a doctor.
Your best friend is a doctor. I'm sure she agrees with that.
Are you going to lift stuff?
Yeah.
I said, I have no plans to lift stuff. I'm very aware in the back, middle, not quite the front, but the back and the middle of my mind, this is something I don't want to do, but I kind of have to do it. But I am not in the place of making that change yet.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I have a very similar example.
Okay.
So I lift stuff.
You do lift stuff.
I lift a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and like, it's okay. Because you lift and like, look at you, you're still moving around the world and it's okay. Like, it's okay, you can do it and it's fine.
What do you mean I can do it and it's fine?
Well, I mean, like, I feel like I might die if I lift stuff. But I watch you lifting stuff and it's fine. Because I'm very resistant to the whole idea of being forced to exercise. But you do it, you seem to enjoy it, it's okay.
I mean,
right.
It's an enormous part of, a huge part of my joy in life is being able, and this morning I went into the gym and my mindset was, it's not like, oh, I have to. It's like, I get to do this. Listen, last year I was not in a good way. I had 2 back surgeries and previous to the back surgeries, I was living with a lot of pain and there were a lot of things I couldn't do.
Yeah.
So now that I am totally recovered, the fact that I get to go to the gym every morning or whenever I want and lift whatever I want, however I want, to me is the biggest privilege ever.
Yes, you can't get my head around that, but I see what you're saying.
Again, it comes down to mindset.
Yeah.
But for me, what I now need to do is I need to start more Pilates. I mean, I do it once every 2 weeks.
You don't really like it, you find it not
I
your
like
favourite
it when
thing
I
to
have a
do.
one-to-one with my sister. My sister's
Right.
a Pilates teacher. And so when she gives me a one-to-one, I like those.
Right.
They're great.
Yeah.
But that is completely bespoke to me. And, it's not, I can't rely on her
It is her actual job.
to give me a one-to-one.
Yeah.
So I need to go to a Pilates class, which I don't love. It's not my favourite way of moving. So I kind of avoid it. But I know that it actually makes my body feel so much looser, so much better. It takes all the pain and the aching away. And I know that if I did Pilates twice a week, honestly, it would be so amazing for me.
So like, you know that, and I know my things, and yet we don't do those things. And it's not because I'm scared of the change. I just don't want to.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, I'd love to bring like the things into that. Like, I don't have a fear of the unknown about it. I don't have a fear of success or failure around it. I just really don't want to do it. I just don't want to. I'm just being really stubborn.
But that stubbornness is not serving you at all.
No, it's not. So we can go through these steps of how to go from passive to active and see if they inspire us in any way. I don't know if they will, but let's try.
Okay.
Firstly, you have to do a mindset shift. Acknowledge that staying in an undesirable situation is a choice, even if it's an unconscious one. Yes, but I do acknowledge that.
Listen, with the Pilates thing and the lifting thing, yes,
I acknowledge.
Of course,
it's a choice.
It's a choice. But what about my other problem?
What's your other problem?
With the bad relationship I have in my life.
Well, do you acknowledge that staying in that situation as it is now is a choice, even if it's an unconscious choice? Can you acknowledge that?
It doesn't feel like much of a choice, but I'm going to go with yes because of all the research that we've just talked about. So yes, I know it's a choice, but I don't know how to not choose it.
Okay. Step 2, set small, achievable goals. So instead of overhauling everything at once, break it into manageable steps. So could you maybe change how much contact you had with this person? Or could you change...
I have.
Okay. So there you go. That's a small, manageable step.
Well, I've done that.
Could you change the way you communicate? So I don't know, maybe if you speak to them on the phone, could you speak to them on the phone less but move it to like WhatsApp? Or if you
I think I've done
sort of thing.
I think I've done what I can do. I really do think I've done what I can do. Again, I know I'm still choosing.
Okay.
But I think I'm choosing how I perceive it. I think that's what needs to change.
I feel a bit like you need to go back to letting go of being right.
Oh,
that show we did. And I know in this particular case, it's like, do you want to be right or be in relationship? And maybe you don't want to be in relationship full stop with this person.
I think we always want to be in a nice, healthy, loving relationship, don't we?
But I do feel a bit, it's like, do you want to be right or do you want to make this healthier?
Well, I am right. Never again.
Okay.
Of course, I'm holding on to it.
Yeah.
That's a choice.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go for your exercise.
Right.
Then
set small, achievable goals.
Yeah.
What would be realistically a small, achievable goal for me?
You tell me. I'm not doing the work for you. You decide.
I don't know. I'd have to like buy some weights.
Okay.
Would that be a small, achievable goal?
Yeah. Or you could buy some resistance bands.
Oh, I think I've even got those.
I'm sure you have.
Yeah.
There are 3 men in your house that exercise.
I think there's even weights in my house.
Right.
There's probably a dumbbell, not a dumbbell, or what do you call it? A kettle. It's round. It looks like a massive snooker ball.
Kettlebell.
I think there's one of those somewhere. All right. So get those out and look at them.
Well, maybe pick it up.
But I don't actually know how to pick. I'm not being funny when I say this. I don't know how to pick them up in a safe way.
Of course you don't know. Why would you know?
And B, in a way that like is going to do anything for me. Like,
right.
You say pick them up, I pick them up like a shopping bag.
Okay. So maybe don't pick the weights up yet.
Yeah.
What you can do is you can do just some body weight stuff.
Okay. Again, don't really know what that is.
That means you don't pick a weight up.
Right.
But you could just squat without a weight. Or you could do a half press up. Or you could do a couple of things that just get your body moving.
Yeah.
That doesn't involve weights, but it involves just moving.
Body weight. You're using your own body weight.
Yeah.
Okay, I tell you what is a small, achievable step. I could ask Zach, my child who's in the gym 6 days a week, who does all the things with all the machines and weights and stuff, to show me 3 body weight exercises. Could I do that?
You could do that. You know what else you could do?
Ask you?
You could. I'm sat right here. Also in the gym 6 days a week.
Yeah.
You know? And then you do...
And
I literally do
I could do
10 reps
of
each thing.
10, that sounds a lot.
No, it's not. It
okay,
is
10
not.
of each thing.
10 body weight
every
squats.
morning. Every morning.
And you have to do like 3 or 4 times. It would take you 10 minutes.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
it.
That's a small, achievable goal.
Totally achievable.
Okay. I mean, that sounds more than small, but it's definitely achievable.
Well, you know, the first step is always the biggest step.
Yes. Understand that.
Isn't it?
Okay. So then you've got to create accountability. That's the next step. You have to share your intention with someone who can support you and hold you accountable. I've just shared it with the nation, the world, the universe.
Who are you going to be accountable
The
to?
clubbers. I don't really want to be accountable to anyone, do I?
Do you want this?
No, I just have to.
Well, you don't want to be stronger. Who doesn't want to be stronger in their body?
I don't want to be old and infirm and fall and break stuff. I don't want that. Okay,
So
let me turn that into a positive.
Thank you.
I would like to be an old person who can fall over and not break stuff.
What you would like to be is a person
Yeah.
who has some body strength, who can lead an active, healthy
Well, I do lead an active, healthy life now,
lifestyle.
but I don't
You
want
don't-
to be
you do not
decrepit.
lead a hugely active.
I don't, but I'm very healthy.
You're very healthy
as I
and you're very
age-
mobile.
As I age, which I will, because we all will, hopefully, it's good to be strong when you're old.
It's good to be strong when you're young. It's good to be strong when you're middle-aged. It's good to be strong at any time of your life. It is better to be strong than not
You've
strong.
gone to the next step. Shift the focus to empowerment.
Oh,
Well done. Well
love that.
done. Magic.
I love that for you.
Recognize you have the power to make the decisions to create the life you want. I'm very happy with my life, but obviously I do need to lift things in it.
Listen, I'm also happy with my life, but there are certain elements in my life that could do with a tweak and could do with just putting a little bit more focus on. Like last year, at the end of last year, I was thinking about this morning. At the end of last year, we both completely burnt out.
Totally.
We totally burnt out.
Yeah.
And so the one thing, and then we went away, I went away, we've had 3 weeks off, and we both really needed it.
Yeah.
We work in a very creative job. So the creative juices don't always flow, especially when you're in a state of burnout and exhaustion.
Yeah.
And I actually realised after reading this show this morning, we chose that. We chose to burn out. If you're not changing it, you're choosing it. And it's a hard thing to...
Well, we did choose to break for Christmas. And we did choose to break early. And that was an active choice because we both knew we had nothing left in the tank. So we did make a choice. In fact, I do believe I phoned you and said, that is it.
Yeah.
We are stopping now.
Yeah, we didn't really stop though.
We had to tie up the loose ends.
Reduced the workload for sure.
Yeah.
But there was still quite a bit of shit to do.
We had to kind of do that. But we did choose to stop.
We did. But what I'm saying is, I don't want either one of us, to get to a point of burnout again, right? So I don't want to choose burnout because we chose it, right? We changed it, but we also had a holiday coming up and we've been burnt out a few times in the 5 years that we've been working together. And actually, we work for ourselves. We don't have a boss. We're not answerable to anybody. I don't want us to ever get to a point where work feels draining, difficult, hard, exhausting, because our work is so fun.
But it wasn't just the work. I think it was that and the combination of what was going on, especially for you. There was a lot going on and it was just too much. It was just all too much.
Well, there was also a lot going on for you.
There was.
I love how you always put that on me. There was so much going on for you at the end of
Mine
last
was
year.
at the end of December. Yours was sort of
It wasn't.
the whole autumn.
It wasn't at the end
was
of
it
December.
not? Oh, it was the beginning of December, wasn't it?
But it was in the run up to
Yeah,
that.
it was all in the run-up.
You
yeah.
am I allowed to say it?
Yeah.
You lost a friend.
I did.
Last year.
Yeah.
And there was the period of time before she passed away that you knew that she was passing away. And it was very, very emotional and difficult and all of the things that you expect it to be. So you also had, and then your best friend's father died and there was so much.
There was a lot.
So there was all of that. My point is that if you're not changing it, you're choosing it. And for us, I want us to always choose our well-being and our mental health.
Well, it's pretty mad not to do that considering we host a wellbeing podcast, right?
And we're our own bosses. There's no one saying to us, you need to work 6 days a week and you need to be at your desk at 9 a.m. There's no one doing that. We are choosing that. So I don't want to choose that anymore.
Okay.
There you go.
Good.
Yeah.
I like it.
You like it?
Yeah.
We don't need to.
No. I feel like you've summarised, but
Have I?
we should summarise
Let's do that.
officially, right? So I guess what we have learned from today is that we always have a choice.
We always have a choice. And I knew that, but it's so, I really needed the reminder.
We are never stuck.
We are never stuck.
And what we choose And what we don't choose, because that is as important as what we do choose, shapes our lives.
Well, we're choosing it.
And shapes our experiences.
We're still choosing it.
Yeah. So
let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Right. Because there's a decision that we need. There's something we want to shift.
Yeah.
Right. We want to make some changes with our work.
Yeah.
And the content that we're putting out. And we're not sure what that looks like yet. And we are stuck in that.
Yeah.
We're choosing that stuckness.
Yes.
We are choosing to be stuck.
We're choosing it because I think that is easier than having to make a difficult decision or be very, very creative with a new decision. So we're choosing the stuckness because that inertia is the easier option for us.
Is it though? That's my question. I don't think it is.
I don't know. For me, I think it is.
But it just prolongs.
Yeah.
But again, I hate being stuck. It's very uncomfortable for me. Like you hate change. I hate being stuck. So it doesn't sit well with me.
Well, we need to work on that.
Yeah, we do. Because we're choosing it. So I'm actively choosing to be stuck when it's something that I really hate.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's that about?
Don't know.
Interesting. It's so interesting.
Anyway, listeners, we would like to know, is there anything that you are choosing to do or choosing not to do that isn't serving you? And are you willing to do anything about that?
There's always something you're choosing that isn't serving you, I think.
So think about that this week, and we'd love to hear
and
your
let
feedback.
us know. You can email us hello@theselfcareclub.co.uk. We are always on the other end of an email, so please be in touch with us. We will be back on Thursday with a new episode of 40ish, and we'll be back on Friday in our subscription with Friday's show. Don't forget that has now moved over to our subscription, which you can access on Apple Podcasts.
Have a lovely week, clubbers.
Bye.
Marketing is hard. But I'll tell you a little secret. It doesn't have to be. Let me point something out. You're listening to a podcast right now, and it's great. You love the host. You seek it out and download it. You listen to it while driving, working out, cooking, even going to the bathroom. Podcasts are a pretty close companion. And this is a podcast ad. Did I get your attention? You can reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Libsyn Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a pre-produced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience in their favorite podcasts with Libsyn Ads. Go to libsynads.com, that's Libsyn, ads.com today.